with her bird friend. She calls him, and he lands on her arm. Then we see Dan, who tells Néma that birds of a feather flock together and tells Leston that he knew Néma was training. The bird knocks, but I didn't expect her to progress this far.
驚かされますね。
まあ仲良しだもんね。
Néma always surprises them. Leston suggests that they make Nox fly farther tomorrow. Néma agrees, but the sadness on her face is evident. Dan asks Néma what's wrong, and she revealed that she might not be able to come as often now as she needs to focus on studying.
来れなくなるかも。お勉強が始まるの。
The scene transitions to Néma in her room, where Mojas enters and informs her that he has brought the teacher, who will instruct her from now on. The teacher introduces herself as Annalie Dessa. Néma is impressed by her elegance.
家庭教師を連れてまいりました。
こちらこそよろしくお願いします。
ネフェルティマ様?
Considering her attire and hair, which resemble a complete artistic masterpiece, Mojas leaves to prepare some tea, and Annalie informs Néma that they must first work on improving her way of speaking. Annalie knows from the head servant, Mojas, that Néma addresses her parents as Mama and Papa. Néma shakes her head, and Annalie hits her, expressing disappointment that Néma didn't react more appropriately. We see Mojas entering the room again, saying that they seem to be getting along well. Annalie expresses confidence that they will become close friends, and Néma talks to herself, asserting that this teacher is undoubtedly her enemy. Annalie then proceeds to strike Néma multiple times.
こいつ敵だ。
悪いですよ。笑顔を崩さない。今日はここまでです。
Stating that she has a bad attitude and advising her to always maintain composure. After the lesson, Annalie asks Néma what she will say at the end of the lesson. Next time, Néma responds with a simple present. Annalie acknowledges that Néma is learning the basics but mentions that there is still much to teach. She reveals that she taught Ralph Opshe and Kanadia Opshe, both talented students, and she intends to transform Néma into a proper lady like them. And then the scene shifts to Néma sitting on her bed with her bird Nox next to her. She appears tired and expresses frustration, stating that the teacher is very annoying. She finds it impossible to believe that Annalie treated Ralph and Kanadia in the same way. Convinced that Annalie is mocking her, Néma is confident that her father will take care of the situation. After she informs him, she decides not to let Annalie win. In the morning, we see Néma with the teacher, and Annalie scolds her for being late again. Néma smiles, thanking Annalie for her guidance and promising to be more careful in the future. Néma then speaks to herself, warning not to underestimate the fake smiles and flattery she learned in her past. Annalie continues the lesson, focusing on history. At night, Néma leaves dinner, and her father is concerned about her unusual behavior. Noticing that she didn't eat well, Néma's mother suggests calling a doctor to examine her if she doesn't feel well. Never time afraid of doctors reassures her mother that she is fine and there's no need for a doctor. However, her mother insists on calling the doctor as a precaution. Néma panics, and her mother tells her to stay put while she goes to the doctor. When alone, Néma, the mother, follows her and advises her to tell the doctor if something is wrong. Néma makes a protest, saying she's fine, but her mother insists as a precaution. Néma screams and runs away, expressing her fear of doctors. However, her brother, Ralph, uses his magic to hold her in place. Néma gets angry at the Ralph for using magic in such a way. Finding it unjust, the Ralph asks her to think of something to tell their mother. Néma looks ahead and sees her mother approaching. She tells her mother that everything is fine, but only in her mind. She believes that if her mother catches her, she won't let her leave until she reveals the truth about Annalie. Suddenly, then Ralph releases his hold on her, and Néma gets very angry at him for what he did. She doesn't think it's fair to use magic in such a situation. Ralph asks her to think about something to tell their mother about Annalie, and Néma reluctantly agrees, realizing she can't handle their problems on her own. Then her mother spoke, stating that Néma should have consulted them since she couldn't handle her problems alone. The girl responded that if she told her mother anything about the teacher, she would be permanently expelled. Her mother affirmed that she would indeed do so, and then asked if Néma had a strategy to defeat Annalie. She explained that Annalie is known as a perfect lady, and Néma won't outshine her in politeness. If she challenges her, it must be on Annalie's terms, or she won't stand a chance. Her mother advised her to learn everything she can from Annalie, as she needs to understand her opponent first. Néma realizes that her mother wants her to make Annalie confess to her misdeeds. Néma then informed her brother, Ralph, about her mother's plan. Ralph used his magic to heal Néma's body, making her feel lighter. He assured her that if she ever felt terror again, she should let him know so he could help her with his magic. He wanted her to bloom into a beautiful lady, and Néma was overjoyed, thanking him for his assistance. The mother at that moment emphasized that this matter would remain a secret between the three of them. She asked Néma to do her best, and the young girl was elated. A year later, Néma grew a little older, surprising her father with her beauty and elegance. He couldn't believe another year had passed and that Néma had become even more stylish. Néma credited it all to the guidance of her teacher, Anli, who thanked her. Anli, proud of her, expected nothing less from a well-mannered girl from the Opshe family, closely related to the royal family. In Néma's thoughts, Anli possessed a stunning appearance, but her actions did not evoke the feelings of a true lady. There was something strange about her that Néma couldn't understand. Later, Néma visited Paul and asked him about Anli. He handed her some papers, explaining that when they considered hiring her as a teacher, they investigated her but found nothing worrisome. However, some of her relatives were devoted believers in a troublesome church. Néma was shocked when she recalled the troublesome monks from that church. She found the church very annoying, continuously talking about things that shouldn't exist. Now she understands the strange feeling that comes with it. Then comes the time for Néma's lessons, where the teacher talks to her about the kingdom of Gashi. It is surrounded by several countries, each with a different climate. Néma mentions that she heard about the city of Ikokoko in the southwest suffering from drought, impacting crops, and causing food shortages. The neighboring countries sought help from the church, and ultimately their kingdom, along with 2 other states, decided to provide assistance. The teacher then inquires about the Church of Creation, questioning why they don't help in such matters. Néma, aware of Ikoko's severe situation, believes they should help. Upon hearing this, the teacher becomes visibly tense and reveals that Ikoko has committed many wrongs, and the church refuses to assist them because they are wicked. Néma asks how the teacher can be certain that the drought is a punishment from the heavens. The teacher explains that their priests informed them of this, but Néma disagrees, stating that all creatures are creations of the same God, and there's no meaning in punishing them. The teacher counters by describing Ikoko as a savage state harboring monstrous individuals, and nobody knows what they might do next. Néma now understands the teacher's perspective. Then she asks if the teacher has met anyone or any monstrous person from that country, to which the teacher responds with an affirmative no. Though it is truly terrifying, Néma reflects on getting close to them. Néma thought to herself that the condescending arrogance stemming from blind adherence to beliefs was beyond her imagination. She then spoke to Anli, expressing her disbelief that someone like her could be so audacious as to be biased against her. Néma told Anli that this wasn't teaching. It was just violence driven by her anger at Néma's insult. She didn't want to become a despicable person who despises, though she has never met Néma. Asked if Anli was trying to imply that this perspective is the right one for a noble lady as the Duke Opshe's daughter, Anli advised her to bow her head in response. Néma disagreed, stating that the purpose of the conversation was to deepen their understanding of each other. Anli left in frustration, and Néma rejoiced, considering it a victory. The scene then shifted to Néma's room, where she spoke with her bird Nox and expressed it. Néma's father noticed a mark on her cheek and became very angry at Anli, but Néma insisted he not interfere, as it was her problem. She only warned Anli. Néma heard that Anli apologized to her father, requesting to continue as her teacher. Later, Néma mentioned that her teaching sessions had reduced, and she began teaching a variety of things alongside etiquette. These lessons were enjoyable. The scene then transitioned to Néma with a horse, and her father informed her that their family was responsible for the northern territories of the Gashi kingdom. He proposed taking her to check the situation there since her schedule had become less dense. Excited, Néma agreed, mentioning her anticipation of encountering many fluffy animals on their journey. They used to spell for long-distance travel, and upon arrival, Arnos welcomed them, expressing his pleasure at their visit from a distant place. Néma then introduced herself, and Arnos assured her they had prepared a carriage for them. Overjoyed, Néma opened the door and was surprised to see snow, something she had never witnessed in this world before. Néma was overjoyed at the sight of the snow, which brings joy to the hearts. Suddenly she froze as snow covered her completely. Her father helped her with a magical spell, warming her body so that she no longer felt the cold. He then told her that she couldn't escape like that, as the weather here was different from the capital. She needed to wear proper, heavy clothes suitable for the cold. When she put on the heavy clothes, she felt warmth and joy, and her father was pleased with how she looked in them. He informed her that they would travel to their destination by carriage, aiming to reach it by nightfall. They boarded the carriage, and Néma looked out of the window in sheer delight at the snow. After getting out and playing in the snow with her father, they continued their journey. Her father explained that the northern territories consisted of mountain ranges, and although the weather was cold, it didn't hinder trade. The mounts provided them with wood, and dairy farms thrived in the plains as they approached the capital. Winter crops, resilient to the freezing weather, became visible. Néma compared the place to Hokkaido or the Tohoku region and hoped to find many delicious things and rare creatures. In the evening, they reached their destination, where the man thanked her father and welcomed them. He considered her father the pillar of their town and expressed gratitude for their hospitality. Néma suddenly noticed that the snow didn't clump together in this place. In the evening, Néma enjoyed a delicious meal and requested more. A lady offered to prepare a canned lunch for her the next day, surprising Néma. Later, her father informed her that they would enter the forest the next day, which had become extremely dangerous due to increased monster attacks. The knights were dispatched, but their numbers were insufficient. They planned to establish a military base for the knights and wanted Néma to be a mediator with a fire dragon. Néma was astonished by this and asked her father, "Are you going to ask the fire dragon to eliminate all the monsters here?" In her thoughts, she feared that the entire forest might burn down. Her father reassured her, stating that he was confident the dragon had valuable information and was hoping for some guidance. Néma agreed, thinking that she could inquire about it when they met the dragon. She called Sol the fire dragon and informed him that her father had accompanied her on a tour of the northern area. She mentioned the recent increase in monster attacks and asked if he knew anything about it. Sol, curious about their specific location, I inquired about the Guild of Gulfer. When Néma told Sol that they were in the Frost Needle Forest, the dragon immediately recognized the place. Surprised, Néma asked why there shouldn't be any monsters in the Frost Needle Forest, so he confirmed that, according to him, there shouldn't be any monsters there. Néma conveyed her Sol's words to her father, and they decided to investigate further. Sol mentioned that most reports indicated the presence of imps, kobolds, and, in extremely rare cases, frost spiders. When Néma asked about the reason, Sol suggested that imps and kobolds should typically reside in the far south, and the presence of these creatures might be due to overpopulation. The peculiar child with yellow hair present in the group also added to the curiosity, expressing surprise at the gathering of reports from the area. Néma's father suggested that the possibility of human interference was low but still present, speculated that someone might have gathered these monsters here. Suddenly he stood up, struck the table, and declared there's no point in sitting around and pondering. We'll head to the forest tomorrow morning. Let's find out the secret behind these monsters. I appreciate you viewing my anime recap, Unruly Family. Please let me know what you think about the full part of the Fluffy Paradise by liking, sharing, subscribing, and leaving a comment.
Take you